Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, today I wanted to have a character analysis on Qrow Branwen. I wanted us to have an in-depth look at his character and just kind of talk about him a little bit. And for those of you who celebrate Labor Day, I hope you all had a wonderful Labor Day, and if you didn't, I still hope you had a good day regardless. So sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's jump right on into this character analysis. Qrow Bronwyn, that good, blunt, cynical, rude, and yet a very cool-headed dude. I have to say, Qrow Bronwyn, from the very first time we really got to see him, excluding being mentioned or in a flashback, he was actually cool. I have to say, I liked his introduction, and from there on out, Qrow, I think, has been one of the best characters in the entire series of RWBY. Now, you look at his characteristics, and of course, he can be a bit childish, and he has a lot of humor to him. I personally think some of the best moments with Qrow when it comes to his humor were in Volume 3. Even though he had a blunt way of answering people, it was still pretty comedic how he responded. And I have to say, that was really good whenever he would just make snarky remarks. It was just funny just to hear what he had to say in response to certain things. And seeing his childish side whenever he was actually kind of mocking Winter and whenever he fought her even, that was pretty good whenever he just put his weapon up and then you just see Winter charge him because he taunted her into doing so. I think that was actually very comedic because he knew he was going to get her in trouble. And it shows a bit of his mischievous side as well, which goes into his childish tendencies. But on top of that, seeing him actually play video games with RWBY and Yang was actually a really cool thing that he did. Because not only does he have these childish sides, but he does have kind of a paternal role. Whenever we did see him play those games, it showed him actually trying to interact in a way that I guess you could say a parent would, or somebody who looks over anyone as if they were a guardian to them. So it was really good to actually see Qrow interact with RWBY and Yang in that way. And not only this, but Qrow definitely, as you could say, took RWBY under his wing. Huh? Oh, I'm terrible. But anyways, looking at it though, when you see the relationship between RWBY and Qrow, it doesn't just seem like a mentor-student relationship. This seems like a father and daughter relationship. And this is a good thing to see because Qrow obviously has a paternal side to him. He obviously looks over RWBY, and even in Volume 3, he was there for Yang. And he's a very knowledgeable individual in more than one way. And seeing how well he taught RWBY, it shows you that he's also even a good teacher. He's a good mentor. And at one time himself, Qrow was actually a teacher at Signal Academy. So it shows you that his teacher status really holds up to what it was. And when you look at this, Qrow does do a good job watching after RWBY and watching after Yang. Volume 4 really did prove that Qrow does watch after RWBY very well. Now, looking at this though, one thing to Qrow is he is a drunk. And this could be more than one reason. There could be a multitude of reasons behind why he could actually be a drunk. But this is a problem because even Glinda Goodwitch herself even states that he is always drunk. So, considering that, it shows you that, yeah, Qrow's an alcoholic. And it is one of the flaws to his actual character. It's one of his problems. But looking at Qrow, and a big thing to think about here is one thing he holds dear to him, even to this very day, is Team Stark, his past, because that may have been one of his best moments in his life. But if you look at it, everybody seems to have bad blood amongst each other in Team Stark now. If you look at the interactions between Qrow, Taiyang, and Raven, each one of them have their own issues. And another part of that could actually be because of Summer's death. And one thing I've theorized upon is I do believe that, not intentionally, but I do believe that Qrow may have been the reason for Summer's death. I think that because of Misfortune, he accidentally may have led to Summer's death. Now, I'll get to that in a moment. But when it comes to Qrow, he has a good, tender side to his heart. He has a good moral sense, if you think about it. And even though he's got a rough exterior, on the inside, Qrow definitely is one of those characters to actually have a good moral point of view on life, as to where Raven has a much different one that obviously Qrow said to Yang that he disagrees with in Volume 3. So despite him even still having issues with different beliefs between him and his sister, he still does care for her. Obviously, he didn't want to have to fight her in Volume 5 during the Battle of Haven. You can definitely tell he didn't want to have to go through that. I would have preferred to see more of a fight out of that, but, things happen. But the thing here is that he actually looks at it in a good point of view. That's the way that Qrow sees it. But at the same time, the thing that's hard for Qrow here is it seems to him that his life is like a bad luck charm. Now, this is where the misfortune part comes in, because his own semblance to him is nothing but bad luck. He believes that because of his semblance and how it is, he brings nothing but bad luck to others. He thinks that he's only going to harm others that come around him. If you listen to the song Bad Luck Charm, it really gives us Qrow's perspective on himself, how he sees himself as well as his own semblance. And it really tells you that Qrow is self-loathing. He doesn't like himself and he doesn't like his semblance. That he sees himself as nothing but a bad luck charm. That nothing but a catastrophe will befall anyone that sides with him. And it's really sad to see, because Qrow himself, he actually means well for everyone. He also does his best and puts his life at risk to try to save everyone he cares about, to try to save the world in the way that he believes is right. And when you think about this, he definitely tries his best. And Qrow is following Ozpin for his own reasons. And I think that Ozpin and Qrow could also even relate to one another. And I think because of Misfortune and Ozpin's reincarnation, which he believes to be a curse, I think that they relate to one another because they see their own semblances as a curse. And yes, I've talked about this with Ozpin, how I believe that this reincarnation is a semblance and not the retcon that is the gods cursing him. But to put this short, you can see how these two relate to one another because they see each other having the abilities they have as a curse. Misfortune being a curse, considering that it can work in the favor of Qrow, but it can also work out of his favor and work in the favor of his enemies. It can go both ways, which, as we saw in Volume 4, Misfortune led to Qrow almost dying to Tyrion's poison. So, when you think about that, Qrow himself is looking at things in a way that he is nothing but a curse. And then this leads to him hating himself, because he thinks that he is nothing but bad luck. He thinks that he is no good, and he thinks that he is nothing but a burden to anyone around him. That's what leads on to his pain and misery there in that regard, because he thinks that he's no good. He thinks that he is a terrible person. He thinks that he will only harm others, even though it's unintentional, but that's what makes him look at himself in a bad light. He looks at himself negatively and not in a positive way. And this could lead on to the cautious behavior that we saw in Volume 3 when Qrow actually warned RWBY and Yang that they shouldn't let their past and near victories against Torchwick and the White Fang automatically allow them to think that they can just save the world, that they can just automatically become heroes with no problem, because obviously he knew that there could be conflicts along the way that may be too hard for them to tackle, and that shows the cautious side of Qrow, that even though he is being cautious here, he does have faith in them. It's not that he doesn't. I mean, he even makes a statement stating, you two, you're gonna go far, but only if you keep learning, if you never stop moving forward. See, Qrow is really trying to show that he has faith in them regardless of the cautious nature he has towards their future. Because if they keep getting involved in that stuff, obviously he knew that something terrible could happen to them if they're not careful, which could go upon his own life experiences. But despite the issues that we've seen Qrow have, despite him have this self-loathing personality, the negativity towards his own semblance, Qrow is actually a very wonderful character, and I think personally he is one of the best characters in RWBY thus far. And he's actually a really good mentor character. I think that overall, seeing everything that Qrow has done and how he's actually grown from since we met him, as well as from what we've been told in the past, like how Raven said that originally Qrow shared the same mentality of her as wanting to kill huntsmen and huntresses. That is interesting that he even grew from that, and I think that this shows the real big change here. And as well, looking at loyalty when it comes to Qrow, he automatically jumps to the defense of Ozpin. I think that Qrow has shown that he is a great character. And yes, despite that, he has his flaws, but he is an excellent character. And after what we've seen with Volume 5 on some things about Qrow, since we did learn a bit more, I think it's actually good that we did get to hear a little bit about his growth as a character. I think it really helped him out. I think it really showed a good improvement for him, considering who apparently he once was and who he is now. So Qrow has come a very far way, and I'm actually glad myself to see how much he's changed from what we've heard and seen. So I know this was an update of one of my very first videos that I ever did, and I really wanted to elaborate better on it because I felt like the first time around I did a terrible job, but then again, starting off, I did pretty terrible. I'm not going to deny it. As time has advanced, I feel like I've gotten a bit better, so hopefully I have. But I just wanted to do an update analysis as well of Qrow and just say everything about him that I've noticed as a character and that I've learned more about him since then. So I hope this was much better than the very first character analysis I did of Qrow, and besides, I did kind of mix it up a little bit more. So let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this informative or useful. Anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.